And good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hey, hey, hey. This is Dr. Dwain Woode, y'all. Welcome to the show. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted. That's right. And I'm here because I want you to have the same successes in your health like you're having in all those other areas of your life. So you can show up intentionally and consistently for those important events and for those people in your life that are so important. All the time that you've poured into, all the time that you've poured into work and building. And now I want you to be healthy so you can get to enjoy that as well. Welcome, whatever platform you're joining me from. Thank you for coming through and hanging out with us. Whatever city, state, village, whatever country you're in, thank you for being here in this space. We are in another week of our fast. And right now, we are 24 hours in. Special shout out to our accelerator members who are out there. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for coming in and being with us. If you're new, go ahead and drop new in the comments because I want to make sure that we say hello and we want to give you a shout out for being here in this space. If you have questions, go ahead and put those in as well and make sure you put a Q in front of that so I know that that's a question that we need to get to. As I said, we are 24 hours in. So if you are fasting with us at any time during this week, it doesn't matter if you finish your fast, you're starting your fast, you're going to start the fast later this week, I want you to drop in the comments, I want you to put me. That's right, M-E, just me, I'm fasting. And I want you to put how many hours you will be fasting or how many hours you fasted. So right now I am in our 72-hour fast. We've got community members who are doing 16 and 8s. We've got people who are doing one meal a day. We've got people who are doing 24, 48 hours. And we have some community members that are actually doing a 72 hours right now. We've done all of those, right? In fact, we've done a 96, we've done 106, 102 hour fast as we've gone through this space. So if you are interested in fasting, if you've been kind of playing around with it, you've been thinking about it, this is a great place to be as the community together or embarks on this amazing journey to be healthy. And that, after all, is why we're here. All right, before we jump into what we're going to talk about, I want to remind you that our flagship show, Dwain Woode MD Live, comes on Mondays at 7 p.m. Central. So make sure that you are joining us as we walk through and walk down this path of being healthy. We have our foundations episodes that comes out the week before, and then we discuss that on the show in our Wood Life Design Labs. So make sure you join us for that. Our foundations episode for this week should be coming out today or tomorrow. So pay attention to that. Make sure you're looking at that and watching it. It's a very short conversation as we talk about what is going on in our health, what's going on in our metabolism. Remember, metabolism has to do with how the body manages the food and the energies that we have. And so dysfunctional metabolism is at the core, it's at the base of a lot of our metabolic and all of our chronic, not all, but a lot of our chronic diseases. So correcting the metabolism is a great way to make sure that we're doing what we need to do to be healthy. So come on through, join us as we move through that path. One thing I want to do is, before we jump into anything else, let's go ahead and let's take a look at what's going on with my blood sugars. All right, so I've got my continuous monitors that we'll take a look at. I've got my CGM, continuous glucose monitor. I've got my Dexcom and I've got my Libre. So let's go ahead and pull those up. And what you'll be seeing right now, this is my Freestyle Libre. It's a Freestyle Libre 3 Plus. And you'll see right here, so this is right about there. Yeah, right about there. That is my blood sugar right now. And so, like I said, we're 24 hours into this week's fast. And you'll see here, let me run my finger across that graph right about here, right about there. And you'll see what those numbers have been. This is the last 12 hours in our fast, and kind of straddling the 90s right there this morning, peaked up a little bit. That's toothpaste right there. And then coming back down, 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 down into where we are right now. I love to go through this one because there are lots of reports that I can take a look at. This is my time in range, and I always go to the 90-day version because the 90-day, that's where we get our A1C, our average A1C. And you'll see right there 95% in range with 5% being low, and those lows tend to happen when I'm fasting. And so over the course of the next 24-ish hours, we should begin seeing some lows. So join us again so we can take a look at that, okay? So that's my time in range. If I get out of that and go to this report, this is my average blood sugar, once again going over to the 90-day version, and you'll see what the average is right about there, 98. We tell people that we want their average blood sugar to be between 100 and 120. And then right here is the time of day, and it tells me what my blood sugars are doing over the course of that span. And I love that because it allows me to make decisions about what I do in terms of activity, in terms of food. I look at this and it helps to guide me. It is not a rule. It is not a shackle, it is not a prison, it's not a jail, it's not a box, whatever words you want to use. It is simply a piece of data that I use to look at so that I can make some decisions, okay? So that's there. And then jumping over to my Dexcom, this is my Dexcom G7, and it says there's going to end in 24 hours, but right now my blood sugar is 96. That's what it is right here. And you'll notice that there is some difference between the Dexcom and the Libre, and they tend to be, for me, about 20 to 30 points off. Now, that is not an anomaly. That is not something that's wrong. It's just remember that meters are allowed to be 20% different from each other. So if I were to get another meter, as we do on the show, and get another finger stick, then I would see that it probably is very different from these. Sometimes it correlates with one or the other. And in this case, they're about 20 points away from each other. Looking at the graph, once again, I can put my finger on the Dexcom and I can scroll through and see what's been going on with my blood sugar over the last 12 hours. And then finally looking at this is my summary report according to the Dexcom, and then going to 90 days, once again, 90 because that's where the A1C would typically come from. I'm in range 96% of the time, that you'll see right there, with less than 1% low. And let's see, average blood sugar of 123, and my GMI is 6.3. Let's see, did I say what the GMI was from this guy? So let's go over here and we're going to, let's see, where do I need to go? Insights, here it is. So GMI, according to this, at 90 days would be a 5.7. Okay, and remember, that's because they are about 20 points off from each other. So that's why you see the difference there. Okay, all right, and so that's what's going on blood sugar wise. I love doing that because you get to see in real time what's happening with my blood sugars. So let's talk about something, and this came up today. This as I was going through clinic, came up today as I was talking to patients. I want to talk about hunger, and I want to talk about what that is. Okay, it's interesting. So I'm at 24 hours now, and when people are fasting, one of the most interesting challenges that we have is this concept of hunger. In fact, even before someone starts fasting, one of their primary thoughts is, am I going to be hungry? Or I can't fast because I'm going to be hungry. So even before getting into it, a lot of people end up in that space. But hunger, I don't want to talk about this as a motivational thing. I don't want to talk about this as a moral thing. So hunger is a physiologic entity. Pause there for a minute. So true hunger is a physiologic entity. It is what happens when the body needs energy. It is what the body does. It makes you feel a certain way. Notice I'm not even describing. It makes you feel a certain way so that you go to get food, or it produces food, or it gets energy from somewhere. Okay? Now, let's pause and let's move back a little bit. When you eat food, when you eat whatever you're eating, the body has to extract energy from the food you eat. Some of it gets used immediately, some of it gets stored for future use, but some of it also gets used to make other components. So, for instance, it takes proteins and it makes muscles. It takes fat and it makes the lipid bilayer of the cells. It takes cholesterol and it shunts it into making hormones. So the food that you're eating not only goes for energy, but also goes for structural components, for enzymes to build, to manufacture other things in the body. Okay, so that process, metabolism. So hunger is a signal when the body senses a need for energy. And that need can come from anything. It could come from, well, I haven't eaten in a while, and so my energy is low. So the body says, go get energy. Or I am anxious, I'm stressed. The body says, I need energy to deal with whatever danger, because the body sees stress as a danger, whatever danger is about to happen, I need energy for that. Or, hey, I'm sick and I need to send cells out to the body to deal with the illness, right? So those immune cells that we talk about often, those cells, when they're going out to fight the germs and the bugs and the bacteria or the foreign object that comes in, guess what they need in order to function? They need energy. And so the entire process of providing energy or utilizing energy in the body is called metabolism. So I'm hungry means go get energy. It doesn't matter what the signal comes from. Whatever energy I need, the body says go get it. And there are some ways that the body makes that happen. It makes us feel hungry. And pause. So hunger, true hunger, is a signal from the body that we need energy for something. Now, we have become accustomed to talking about hunger in certain ways, and there are certain things that we've associated with hunger that are not true hunger. Let's talk about what non-true hunger is. So, non-true hunger. You sat down and you just ate a 10-course meal. I know there's no such thing, right? So it's Thanksgiving, or it's your birthday, or it's Christmas, or your anniversary, or something's going on, and you sat down and you went to town, and you ate and you ate and you ate, and you now feel full. Your stomach is stretched. You know how we sit down, we watch the ball game on Thanksgiving, or whatever that is, or we do something and we've gotten all the food in. And wait a minute, and a half an hour later, I'm hungry again. Well, honestly, you can't be truly hungry again, because true hunger is a signal that the body needs energy. 30 minutes after you eat, a half an hour later, the food hasn't even digested yet. So what is going on in that case when I'm feeling hungry? Well, it could be several things. It could be that, and the big one, is that I am used to my stomach being stretched. We've gotten accustomed to having things in our stomach all the time. So we're eating all the time, we're snacking all the time. So anytime the stomach is not stretched, anytime there's stuff not in the stomach, then we get a signal that says, hey, let's put something in there. That's number one. Number two, it could be situational. It could be routine. It could be a habit. So that, hey, I just finished eating, but look at that, the rest of my team is getting up and they're going to lunch. Even though I'm full, that signal comes that says it's lunchtime, and so let me get up and let me go. Make sense? The other thing that can happen is, let's go back to Thanksgiving for a minute. So you finish eating, and you know that on Thanksgiving, Aunt Sue normally makes her famous peach cobbler, or a famous apple pie, a pumpkin pie, or sweet potato pie. Which one is yours, by the way? Drop it in the comments. All right? And you know that that's there, and your brain says, hey, we're hungry, but it's not really hungry. You're not hungry. You just have a desire for that thing because you remember what it tastes like. So notice, there are lots of different ways that our brains can send a signal to go get something to eat when it's not true hunger, because true hunger is really just a signal that my body needs energy. Now, I've had people say to me, hey, well, my stomach hurts when I get hungry. And I said, well, what does that mean? Describe it to me. And so people will say everything from, I feel like I have some indigestion, so that burning sensation, or I feel like my stomach is churning, or I feel some pain, or it just feels funny, or it growls. Now, all of those things that I just described are not necessarily hungry or hunger signals. Let's walk through some of them. So number one, because we're so used to our stomachs having food in it, the body is in the habit of producing stomach acids that are responsible for helping digestion. So even when you decide that you are going to, quote unquote, eat better, and so now you're not eating as much, in that first period, the body hasn't learned yet that it has to decrease the amount of acid that's produced. So it still continues producing the same amount of acid. And you feel that acid, rightly so, as an irritation. And so that burning sensation, that indigestion that you have, can be simply because the body still hasn't caught up, the physiology still hasn't caught up with your decision to eat better or to eat less, improve your portion sizes. Or, in our case, fasting, right? So you started fasting, and the body is still used to having stuff in there continually. So it still continues doing its job like it's supposed to. It hasn't caught up to the fact yet that you have decided to eat a little differently. The next thing is churning, right? Right? So that process happens, one, because of the acid, two, because there's nothing in there. So we are bringing the amount of food that's in, the stretch, where we're not stretched anymore, so the stomach is contracting for that moment. It's not getting shrunken all the time, right? Because we just started fasting, we just started eating better, it's the new year, we just got onto our plan, whatever it is, you just got into that, and so you're feeling the system still behaving like the old system because it hasn't caught up yet. So true hunger comes from a desire for the body to get energy. And what has happened is we have misinterpreted over the years, because of the way we eat, because of our culture, what the signals in the body, what they're telling us. And so we feel, oh, that's hunger, when it actually is not really hunger. Right? So now let's give it a word. Let's give it a name. So it's a psychological hunger, if we want to call it. So it's not physical. It is based on all the other things. Now, one of the things that you've heard me talk about is our HEAT model: habits, emotions, access, and taste. These are the reasons that we eat other than because we're hungry, other than for nutrition. We habits, we talked about that. So people get up to go eat, and so we're there with them because that's what we do. Emotions, we get angry enough, we get frustrated enough, we get lonely enough, we get bored enough, tired enough, whatever it is, there's an emotion there, and that emotion drives hunger. We get, there's access. We get up and we see things around us, right? There are peanuts over there. There are chips actually on the cabinet, the bookshelf right behind, in front of me. Or I go into the break room, and my birthday was last week, and so they got me a cake. I had my piece of cake, and I went to the back of the break room. Guess what? There's still cake, right? Because we didn't eat all of it. So guess what? Right? If it's there, we can eat it. And so that's what happens often. And then the one that I mentioned, the whole Thanksgiving with Aunt Sue's peach cobbler and apple pie and so forth, we remember what things taste like. And because we remember what things taste like, there are times when our push for that thing has nothing to do with the physiologic need. It has everything to do with that memory. And the memory is a powerful one, y'all. I had a patient tell me years ago that they love a certain kind of a candy. And so we're walking through this process. So what do you love it? Why do you love it? Say, I don't know. It's just, when did you first start loving it? I don't know. Right? So we're talking through the process. And it turned out that this patient had moved in, due to family circumstances, moved in with his aunt and uncle. And they had kids. And uncle would travel. And every time he would come back home, he would bring a certain type of candy. And so in the patient's mind, as a child, he connected belonging with the candy. He connected relationship with the candy. He connected a stable experience with the candy. He connected family with the candy. And so now fast forward, as an adult, not having thought about the connection, thinking now, I just love that candy. Habits, emotions, access, and taste. So as we're going through this process, when we begin feeling what's going on in our body, if we misinterpret it, we will go to eat. And when we fight it, the reasons that we eventually succumb is either because we continue to misinterpret or we're working through that heat model: habits, emotions, access, and taste. So fasting is a fascinating way of writing our system. One of the things that we've got to learn to do is we've got to learn to understand our bodies. And that's the beauty of what we do here. Understanding comes first. Design comes next. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. That's why you hear me say those words, those three words all the time. We educate, we empower, we encourage. Because you've got to understand. Once you understand, you can design. Once you design, then you can have lasting change. I love being here with you. So once again, if you are fasting with us, go ahead and put me. I do see one of our community members. Hey, Cornelia, what's going on? Let me move this over here, Cornelia. Cornelia says, what's up? Let me make that smaller. Okay, wow, that's a big one. Okay. So you guys get that. So here, say hello. Thank you for this pop-up. Hey, Cornelia, glad that I can do that. So if you're fasting with us, go ahead and put me. If you are interested in fasting, you've been thinking about fasting, or even you've started fasting, you are not sure about fasting, and you want to get a resource that will help you walk through how to fast successfully and how to fast safely, you can go to dwainwoodemd.com/fasting. So dwainwoodemd.com/fasting, and you sign up there. There's a resource that we've provided that you can download, and you can begin learning about the process of fasting, how to do so safely. As part of that, you'll get about, I think it's 25, not 25, you'll get 5 to 6 emails from me over the course of the next 21 to 30 days after you download that resource, with thoughts of things that you should think about, just a connection point, so that as you're going through that, you can be successful. Okay, so dwainwoodemd.com/fasting. And if you want to continue the process of being healthy, you're interested in walking through the path of health, you want to implement some things in your life, you want to make some changes, go ahead to dwainwoodemd.com/briefs, dwainwoodemd.com/briefs, and you'll sign up for the Woode Life Design Brief, which is a weekly email that you get from me with a health nugget, not anything elaborate, not anything grandiose that you've got to do, but a simple, doable, practical, right now thing you can do on a weekly basis to continue being healthy, right? DwainWoodeMD.com/briefs. All right. Well, for those of you who are here with us, thank you for coming through. If you are fasting with us, if you ended your fast today, congratulations for making that decision. If you are starting your fast, my hat's off to you because you've now made a decision that you are going to be healthy. And then for the rest of us, as we continue the fast this week, right? So we're celebrating with the 24 hours. We're celebrating with those who started now, but we are celebrating also as we continue the rest of this week as we go into the fast. Keep an eye out for our Woode Life Design, keep an eye out for our Foundations episode that comes out, that'll be out today or tomorrow. And then join us as we continue with our Dwain Woode MD Live on Monday, 7 p.m. Central. Saturday night at 9 p.m., there will be our episode of the Video from the Vault. And then on Sunday, This Week in Review. Always, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Woode with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and I want you to show up intentionally and consistently for those special occasions and those special people in your life so that you can enjoy being with them. You don't need superhuman strength. What you need is a strategy you can trust, a plan you can follow, and the determination and the support to show up every single time. Thank you for being here. Have a good one, everyone. We'll see you next time.